A new beginning. Nathan was almost certain he was going to throw up if he didn't get out of there as soon as possible. There being his mother's bedroom, where both she and his older brother George sat still, carefully watching him as they waited for his reply. Nothing about his expression betrayed how he felt as he stared right back at them. "What do you want me to say?" he asked no one in particular. His mother sighed. "Say whatever is on your mind." "It doesn't seem like there's anything left for me to say. It looks like you've both got everything planned." He couldn't conceal the accusation in his tone. His brother shook his head gently but said nothing. "Anytime you're ready, let me know." With that, Nathan got up, gave a curt nod, and excused himself. His mother and brother watched him go. "He'll come around, Mom. You know how Nathan is. That's his defense mechanism," George said. "I hope you're right, George. I really hope you're right," their mother said softly. Hannah bounced her oldest brother's daughter on her knees, making funny faces and getting the baby to laugh. She bounced her a few more times before setting her down in the middle of her bed. The baby concentrated on playing with her rattler while Hannah rolled onto her stomach and propped her face in her palms. "Something is definitely going on downstairs. The adults are talking in hushed voices, and you and I have been sent up here to wait." The baby looked at her and made a sound Hannah chose to interpret as a yes. "I know, right? Even Uncle Nathan is here. Making an appearance twice in a month is quite a record, seeing as he's hardly ever here." Hannah looked thoughtful. "I don't like the suspense. Maybe we should go and investigate, yes?" She got up, picked the baby, and turned around as there was a gentle knock on her door before it was opened. Kate, Kate walked in, and the baby clapped happily, reaching out for her mother. Hannah let go of the baby, as she had already latched onto her mother and wouldn't let go. "Hey, baby. Hope you've been a good girl to Auntie Hannah." Kate adjusted the baby and turned to Hannah. "Your mom and brothers want to talk to you, Hannah." She wouldn't look directly at her, and Hannah felt a thud in her heart. "Is something wrong?" "Nothing is wrong. They just want to talk to you about something. Go on, I'll join you all after I feed the baby." Hannah mentally went through all that happened that week as she made her way to the sitting room. She was sure she hadn't been in any trouble recently. In the sitting room, she was asked to sit, so she sat beside their mother on the couch, adjacent George and opposite Nathan. In spite of the huge difference in age, Hannah was closer to George than she was to Nathan, who was 16 years older. She was a miracle baby born late to their parents. However, she and Nathan had never really been close. He was hardly ever home and always kept aloof when he was around. Funny enough, she shared a strong resemblance to Nathan than with the other members of their family. George spoke. "Hannah, we called you down here so we can talk, because there is something important we need to tell you." Hannah felt another thud in her chest, but she remained quiet. "No matter what, always remember that we love you so much, and we did what we did because we thought that's what was best for you at that time," George continued. Hannah opened her mouth to speak, but could only squeak. She cleared her throat and tried again. "Am I adopted? That's why you're all way older than I am, right?" Tears burned the back of her eyes, but she blinked them away. "No, of course not," their mother said. "Well, technically, you're a member of the family, just not in the context you grew up believing," she added quietly. "What are you saying, Mom? I don't understand." Hannah looked around at the faces of the adults in the room. Mom is not your mother. She is your grandmother, George spoke gently. The panic Hannah felt reflected on her face as she wildly stood up, not knowing what to do. That's not true. This is a joke, right? Her voice went up an octave. George got up and walked up to her. He held her by her arms. I'm really sorry, but it is the truth, he told her. Hannah's eyes filled with tears as she gazed at the man she thought was her oldest brother, but could very well be her father. Who among you is my biological father? You? She asked. Her voice broke on the last word. She swallowed hard as the tears clogged her throat, but George shook his head sadly. Not you? Hannah's voice was shrill. She watched him wince but didn't care. Then who? I am. It came from somewhere behind George. It registered in Hannah's mind that the voice belonged to Nathan, but her heart rejected it. No, no, no! She stomped her foot. She didn't care that she was behaving like a child or that the tears were now streaming down her face. Her mother, or is it grandmother, tried to hug her, but she shrugged her away. You're all liars, all of you. I want to be left alone. Then she ran out of the house, having no idea where she was going, only that she needed to be as far away from them as possible. Hannah was tired of being angry. It was draining and had the effect of rubbing off on the people around her. Lately, her friends were giving her a wide berth because of her bad temper. Her family used any and all opportunities to call her out on her bad behavior. She was hurting. For 16 years, she had been living a lie. Nathan, the one who avoided her like the plague, was her biological father. It explained everything. He'd been ashamed of her, so he had stayed away, so that people wouldn't put two and two together and guess their real relationship. Over the past couple of months, since the big reveal, he had tried to talk to her, to do stuff with her, but she wasn't interested. All of a sudden, he was interested in her life, huh? Well, she wasn't having any of his unsolicited attention. However, these days, Hannah was feeling less and less hostile. She was simply tired. She didn't really want to think it had anything to do with the fight they had had some days back. Hannah and Nathan had exchanged words, and he had shouted at her, something he never ever did. He told her that he had done his best by her. He had insisted on paying her school fees right from when she started school and set up some kind of trust fund for her. He had changed her diapers as a baby and had rocked her when she couldn't sleep in the middle of the night. She didn't want to admit it, but Hannah knew then that in his own way, he cared. So now she had two options, either to keep being angry with everyone or to meet her father halfway and try to make the best out of an unfortunate situation. Nathan hated being in the hospital, and he made sure the hospital staff knew it. He wanted to get out of the place. It reeked of antiseptic, and he just wanted to go to his house. It was his fault that he was there, because if he had been paying attention to what he'd been doing at work, the accident could have been avoided. It was something he did every day. He could even do it in his sleep. But that morning he had been distracted for 1 second, and that was all it had taken. The machine's cut was so deep, almost as if it was bent on severing his thumb from his hand. Thankfully, there wasn't too much damage, except the 14 or so stitches on his injured hand. He was a little frustrated that he would have to be handicapped for some weeks. He was distracted from his musings by some commotion outside his cubicle just before the curtain was hurriedly moved aside, and in ran Hannah, looking like she was being chased by a mad dog. She stood there wild-eyed, staring at him. "Are you okay?" Nathan asked, looking concerned. Hannah took a deep breath. and another before covering her face with her hands. She started crying deep, soul-wrenching sobs that had Nathan standing up in panic. George came in behind her, and Hannah turned and glared at him. That was mean. Why would you say he didn't make it? Who uses death as a joke? I agree it was a bit morbid, but I thought you didn't care what happens to him. George spoke with a straight face, although Nathan could see he was trying not to laugh. I don't care, Hannah said lamely as she wiped at her tears, feeling very foolish. Nathan reached out with his good hand and wiped a tear. You're sure you don't care, Hannah? He moved closer and offered his good hand to her. Without thinking, Hannah flew into his embrace and held on tight. Nathan closed his eyes but didn't try to hold back his tears. The love he felt for his daughter was so profound it scared him at times, and now it looked like he would be getting a chance to start all over with her. It was like a rebirth, a new beginning for both of them and the other family members. He was looking forward to it, and he was sure so was Hannah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next story.